Sports give us heroes. They give us miracles, championship moments, and unforgettable victories. But every sport has a darker side too. Behind the cheers, behind the bright stadium lights, there are stories of athletes who paid the ultimate price for the games they loved. This video is about them. The athletes whose final moments changed the rules, forced safety innovations, and reminded the world that even the strongest bodies can be frighteningly fragile. Their stories are hard to hear, but important to tell. We start with Jack Trice. In 1923, he stepped onto the field for Iowa State, one of the first black athletes to represent the school. He played with heart, feeling like he had something to prove, not only for himself, but for every person who looked like him. In that game, he suffered a brutal hit. He tried to keep going, insisting he could push through the pain. But 2 days later, he died from internal injuries. His teammates mourned, his school mourned, and eventually the entire college football world had to confront the violence players endured just to step on the field. Today, Iowa State Stadium bears his name. His legacy didn't end in that hospital room. It continues every Saturday when thousands walk through the gates wearing his number and chanting his name. From the gridiron, we move to the rodeo arena. Lane Frost wasn't just a bull rider, he was rodeo's bright smile. Crowds loved him because he made danger look like a dance. In 1989, at Cheyenne Frontier Days, he finished a perfect ride and the crowd exploded in celebration. But the bull turned back. Lane tried to escape, but the animal struck him hard in the ribs. He stood up for a moment, then collapsed. He never got back up. His death shocked rodeo fans everywhere, but it also sparked change. Riders began wearing protective vests because of him. His final ride saved countless others. In cricket, the world witnessed tragedy in 2014 when Philip Hughes stepped up to bat for New South Wales, a talented, rising star. Then came one delivery, short and fast, striking a vulnerable part of his neck that wasn't protected by his helmet. He collapsed instantly. Fans, teammates, even opponents were frozen in horror. 2 days later, he was gone. His death forced cricket to redesign helmets and rethink safety standards. Today, every batter benefits from protections created because of a moment no one could ever forget. In college basketball, there was Hank Gathers, a powerhouse on the court, strong enough to intimidate anyone who dared stand in his way. During a game in 1990, he threw down a powerful dunk and ran back to play defense. And then, his body failed him. He collapsed mid-play. The arena went silent. He was only 23, with a future that could have been legendary. His sudden death forced sports programs everywhere to take heart conditions seriously, because sometimes the danger isn't a collision, but something hidden inside. Racing fans know the name Ayrton Senna. He wasn't just fast, he was fearless. Formula One adored him, but during the San Marino Grand Prix in 1994, his car went off the track at terrifying speed, slamming into a concrete wall. Millions were watching live. The world stood still. Senna's death broke the sport's heart, but it also forced F1 to reinvent safety, redesign tracks, strengthen car cages, and improve emergency medical responses. His legacy is woven into every driver who straps in today. Moving to the boxing ring, Benny Kid Parrott's story is one that forever changed the sport. In 1962, a heated rivalry turned into a brutal fight. In the 12th round, Parrott endured a storm of punches, too many, too fast. He slumped against the ropes unconscious and later died from brain injuries. His death made referees and doctors rethink their roles. The fight game would never again ignore the signs that a boxer was in danger. At the Olympics, Nodar Kumuratishvili dreamed of representing his country in luge. In 2010, during a high-speed training run, his sled lost control. He was thrown off the track and hit a support pole at lethal force. He was only 21. It was the day the world learned how thin the line can be between speed and disaster. The tragedy led to immediate redesign of the track and deeper safety investigations across the sport. In MotoGP, Marco Simoncelli was the kind of racer who lived for the thrill, not the fear. Fans adored his boldness. But during the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2011, his bike slid, sending him into the path of other riders at full speed. The impact took his life right there on the track. The racing world grieved, and once again, safety became the top priority. Stronger protocols, faster medical intervention, stricter regulations. His loss created progress. In 2003, during an international match, Marc-Vivien Foe collapsed in the middle of the pitch. No collision, no warning. Just a man whose heart gave out under pressure. He was a proud competitor for Cameroon, and his death pushed global football to improve cardiac screening. Today, thousands of young athletes are tested every year because of him. In professional wrestling, Owen Hart's story remains one of the most shocking. He was supposed to make a dramatic entrance from the rafters, a stunt he had practiced many times, but the harness malfunctioned. He fell far, far below. Fans thought it was part of the show, until it became clear that it wasn't. That night forced wrestling to rethink every stunt and every safety device. His final mistake would never be repeated. NASCAR fans still speak the name Dale Earnhardt with reverence. Known as the Intimidator, he was fearless behind the wheel. But in the 2001 Daytona 500, a final lap crash sent shockwaves through the sport. His helmet couldn't protect him from the violent force to his head and neck. That moment changed racing forever. New restraints, redesigned seats, improvements to barriers, all now standard, all because one legend paid the cost with his life. And then there was the disaster at Le Mans in 1955. It wasn't one driver or one spectator, it was many. A collision sent debris and a blazing car into the stands, killing dozens. Motorsports realized the audience wasn't protected. The sport had been blinded by speed, too fast, too dangerous, too careless. In tragedy, they found accountability. Through each of these stories, one truth becomes painfully clear. Sports evolve because of loss. Safety doesn't appear out of nowhere. It is built from heartbreak, from families who never wanted their loved ones to become symbols of change. We cheer the games, we admire the athletes, but behind every rule we take for granted, someone was once unprotected. Someone once stood in the arena with no armor except courage. Today's helmets, today's track barriers, today's medical teams and screening protocols, they exist because disaster forced innovation. We must say their names, not just to mourn them, but to understand why sports are safer than they were yesterday. Jack Trice helped build the legacy of representation and protection in football. Lane Frost made rodeo riders harder to kill. Philip Hughes taught cricket that one exposed inch could cost a life. Hank Gathers made the world examine the hidden risks inside an athlete's heart. Ayrton Senna's death reshaped the entire engineering philosophy of racing. Nodar Kumaratishvili exposed the thin margin between victory and tragedy at Olympic speeds. Benny Parrott, Marco Simoncini, Marc-Vivien Foe, Owen Hart, Dale Earnhardt, every single one left permanent fingerprints on their sport. None of them wanted to become martyrs, they just wanted to play. They just wanted to compete. They wanted to entertain us, to inspire us, to chase victory, but they never came home. When you watch sports now, when you celebrate the excitement, the velocity, the danger, remember that safety is written in the history of those who weren't protected. Their courage deserves more than applause. It deserves responsibility. Their stories remind us why athletes deserve every safeguard we can give them. They remind us that a human life is never worth a trophy. And their legacy is this: the game must go on, but it must go on smarter, safer, and with respect for the ones who are no longer here to play. And if these stories moved you, if they taught you something you didn't know, then you carry their memory forward, not as horror, not as shock, but as a reminder that sacrifice built the stage we cheer on. All right, that's it for today's video. If you found value or learned something from the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time, stay safe.